Welcome to Women of the World Network Choreograph Success podcast. I am Elle Ballard, a woman of the world, a mother, a grandmother, a wife, and an entrepreneur. In this podcast, I discuss ways to choreograph success across six essential life areas: health, relationships, career, money, investments, and fun and pleasure. Because as women of the world, we don't just build businesses, we design lives that honor all of who we are. I interview female business owners who are building a business and a life sustainably, ethically, and in community. In these raw and real conversations, we explore what it's like to build a life and business authentically on your own terms while standing on a foundation of self-love and intentionality. If you are a woman of the world, ready to choreograph success in every area of your life while maintaining your uniqueness and individuality, you are in the right place. Welcome to Women of the World Network Choreograph Success podcast. Hello, my beautiful world. In this episode 2, as we are continuing the 6 episode series of the choreography of strength, I want to talk to you about this. I want to bring this analogy of a language that you speak. This podcast is part of Women of the World Network. And I want to bring this analogy today when something that we are getting used to doing speaks your language, understands your language. And let me explain what I mean. So, yesterday, I went to a weight to music session with my friend. It was over Zoom. Basically, we were lifting weights with music. As I am, working on my challenge over the summer to add, more weight for my body composition. And just to give you a background, we are doing this series, and I'm doing this solo series, 6 episodes to sort of, I'm challenging myself to work on my body composition after I have done a DEXA scan and really improve the fat percentage in my body. And it wasn't too bad, honestly. I kind of knew what to expect. I knew that it's gonna be, but I want to improve that. So next time when I go rescan, that percentage will be better. And so I've been working on adding weights to my routine. And I don't like, as I've shared with you in the last episode, I don't like lifting weights. It's just not my thing. I dance, right? I love rhythm. I love to dance with my favorite music. But, I want to talk to you about a couple of things today and share my very first experience with weightlifting here. And don't get me wrong, I did lift weights before, and it's sort of, but I took a break from it, and I haven't really done it in a way that I should, or as consistently as I should. And so I want to bring this concept of tolerance versus integration. When we are tolerating something, we are sort of doing it because we know we should do it. We sort of endure it, we complete it, and we might even get good at it. But integration is different. Integration is when the new thing stops being foreign. Integration is when this new thing finds a way to speak your language. Bringing that analogy with language, meaning when this new thing connects to something that you already know, when it starts to live inside the identity you already have, instead of sitting, outside of it. Right. And so for me, the language is music and dance and rhythm. And so I'm connecting weightlifting to that. So I'm bringing the weightlifting. When I brought the music to my weightlifting class, it started changing things because I speak the language of music. And then the second thing here that I want to talk about, the second distinction is the bridge is always sensory. right? So we're not thinking our way into this, we're kind of moving. And the bridge is somatic. It's the thing that our nervous system already speaks fluently because it knows it. And again, for me, it's rhythm. My system, my nervous system knows that rhythm. It knows that music. It knows that movement. And that's my native language. And so when I brought that music into the weight room, even on Zoom, because I did this on Zoom, it was weights in my hand. This new thing is starting to be familiar because my nervous system and my body recognizes it. So that's the bridge here. That's somatic intelligence, my body intelligence doing exactly what's it designed to do. When we are trying to get somewhere and we cannot get there only with our head, our body finds a route. Body knows, right? So dance has always been my vehicle. And so I'm using part of that vehicle through music to get to a little bit of a different destination. Yeah. So that's a bridge. That's a second distinction that I want to bring to you today. And the third distinction is this integration is not permanent, it's practice. So some days the music plays and everything connects just perfectly. But some days it's just weights and sweat and no magic, right? Maybe the goal should be not to feel the shift every time, but to know it's available, right? To know that the two worlds, your world and the hard thing, are not separate as they used to be. And so that integration is a practice. So those three distinctions that I wanted to bring to you today is tolerating something versus integrating something. And then the bridge from what we know in the head and what the body already knows. And then integration is practice. So practicing it to bring it to our world slowly. So I want to share with you, a little bit about Clara and my friend, my beautiful friend Clara, and my first session with her yesterday. And she is from a Minnerson Self Defense and Fitness, and she's a beautiful friend and a great person, member in our community as well. And I want to be honest with you about how this experience went for me yesterday. Can I give you more details, what it was like? And so take you inside what happened at my session and share this with you, this experiment, that whole thing, which I'll be sharing more in the next 4 episodes as well. What I loved was that Clara built the session in blocks with pauses built in between the blocks, intentional sequences and pauses, intentional pauses, but specifically with stretches between each one. So each block had just a quick stretch after it, and then we had a longer stretch at the end. And I really, really love that because I know I don't stretch enough. I don't stretch my body enough. So I love that part of it. I love that I allowed my body to stretch in between these blocks. When we worked on our arms, when we worked on our legs, we stretched after each block. And I noticed that. And it was choreography, right? Because she choreographed this perfect sequence for us. And so it was sequencing in practice for me. And when I saw that, it also reminded me of my language, of my choreography language, where we built everything in sequence and dance. And again, my body knew that. And so it recognized that language. And so part of me relaxed and went through the workout. Now, let me talk about the weights. So I have a couple of weights in my bedroom upstairs. And then I had more weights actually in the garage that I didn't prepare. And that's my lesson. I need to show up more prepared, meaning I need to bring different kinds of weights because I only had one. And for some exercises, it was a little bit too much. And then I ended up not using the weights at all because I didn't have them by me. I didn't have prepared I didn't have them prepared next to me. And so next time I want to bring lighter weights, and then a little bit of heavier weight, because all I had was a heavier weight. And of course, for some of those exercises, it was hard for me to do. That was information for me. And so that preparation is part of the practice. So that was something that I was noting for myself to do it next time. And then my body had a lot to say about specific types of the exercises we did. When we did push ups, honestly, they were not terrible. I got through them, more or less. I mean, they were not pretty, but they were my push ups. But when we did lunges, on the other hand, they were the hardest thing for me. And I was thinking, it's interesting to me because I dance, and we dance on our legs. So I use my legs a lot. This coming weekend, I'm getting ready to do a dance pep rally, and I'll be doing 40 dances. And so my legs will be in constant use. But it was interesting with lunges, it was hard for me to do. And I realized that dancing and lunging, and they both involve legs, but they are using different muscles, engagements, different angles. And in dance, when we dance, different types of dancing, we also use it a little bit differently. But then again, I'm not repeating them like I would repeat the lunges, because the steps are different in every choreography. And so that was an interesting thing for me, this interesting thing for me to discover, where I've discovered that I have fluency in dance with my legs. And I have fluency in that language, but I don't have a fluency when it comes to specific lunges that I do still with my legs, right? So that was an interesting discovery for me. And that was the hardest of all for me to do. Overall, it was great. One last thing I want to say is I definitely loved the music. Definitely enjoyed that music. And, Weights with Music, of course, was a session that I attended. And that is the moment where the two worlds connect for me. That is exactly the language I speak. The language of music, the language of rhythm. I speak that language. And so it was just something that I enjoyed. My body loved it. And so I finished that workout, without too much resistance, because my body loved the music part of it and it knew that it's familiar. And so it went with it. And that's what made this foreign thing, even though it was not the totally foreign thing. I used to do the waves before, but it still felt foreign because I haven't done it in this way, a couple of years. And so now it made the foreign thing feel like a little more like home. And so that's the moment I want to keep building, knowing what my body knows, what the language my body already speaks, and connecting that and integrating with that. And so here's a question I want to leave you with. Where in your own heart thing is a bridge waiting for you to be found? Not how to eliminate that resistance, but is there a bridge to find the frequency where it can start to speak your language? If someone does not like budgeting, for example, but loves designing things, what if budgeting became a layout challenge? Or if someone avoiding hard conversation but loves music, enjoys music, what if that conversation had a rhythm and a tempo? So we're building that bridge. The woman who cannot make herself exercise but choreographs everything else, what if that was the bridge? And what if that workout had a score that she can choreograph and build rhythm around? So the native language already exists, and we know that. And we've been fluent in it for years. And so this question now becomes, have we tried using it as the entry point for the thing you've been avoiding? What is your native language that you can bring that thing to, that you can build that bridge with? And as we part here, one more thing I want to close with is, if you try something with me here and take the time to do that, just, a couple of minutes, put your favorite song on. One song that is just fully yours. You love that song. The song already speaks your language because you love it so much. Your body knows, your senses know it. And you're gonna recognize it right. You're gonna recognize it right away. And while that song plays, do one thing that you have been avoiding. You don't have to finish the thing, but you can do that thing right when the song starts. Your favorite song starts playing, and you finish when the song ends. Just a little experiment, just to start it, right? Just simple, small steps. It doesn't have to be any of the big steps. Something small, something easy to handle for you, and just you're just gonna do it with music. And while you're listening to that music, let the rhythm of that music carry you through that task that you have been avoiding, and see what happens. See what happens when you start when you stop sort of forcing yourself into it. Yeah. But instead of finding a bridge, building a bridge to from something that already exists to something new. And for me, it's been weightlifting because I know I've been resisting it, I've been avoiding it, but I know and I know and I know that I need to build that muscle, and it will help me in my dance competitions as well. It will help me to start competing in dance as well. So it has all that, and of course, it's going to help me with my body composition. That next time I rescan, and with that, I'm gonna speak with you, and I'm gonna report back to you in the next episode, episode 3, that will be part of this choreography of strengths series. Bye, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.